Hello, everyone, and welcome to There's Always a Song. My name is Brent Buchanan, and thank you so much for tuning in. My guest today in There's Always a Song, and we will have a song at the end of the show, an original song. My guest for this episode is Wade Hallihan. Hello, Wade.
Hey, Brent.
How you
Thanks
making
so
out?
much. I'm doing great, man, and thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure.
We've never met. This is the first time we've met. We've been Facebook pals for a while, and
That's how the world works these days, eh?
Exactly. So yeah, you've been plugging away at this music business for a while.
Yeah, it's been a journey, really. I guess, if not to use a cliche, Brent, but like picked up the guitar when I was 14. In high school, got together with a few other guys. We had a band.
Yeah.
I actually played my first paid gig in June of 1990. So there's a lot of water.
How old were you?
17.
17.
Yep.
My son's learning to play bass,
Oh, nice.
and he's going into high school next year, and he wants to start a band. He wants to get a band together.
Bass players are hard to come by.
That's what I told him.
Trust me. We had a hard time getting a bass player. We played as a trio, just me and my two buddies there. Did the variety show thing at the local halls and schools, and then we found a bass player. And we had a band, and that kind of fizzled apart after everyone started, going to university and whatnot. And then I just played around with some other local people on the river.
Miramichi.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yep. Born and raised just outside of Blackville.
Okay.
I live just outside of Miramichi in the city now. Played around, did every old watering hole and Legion and dance hall, playing benefits, doing everything like that.
Well, all this time it's cover songs.
Yeah. Primarily, just the old classic rock. I cut my teeth on country music when I was a kid. Like, my mom had a stack of Charlie Pride records that high, and then along came Ricky Skaggs. Smiley Bates, big influence on guitar playing for
So
me.
was your mom and dad or family, were they musical? Or?
No, I'm a bit of an oddity that way.
So how did you get into, was it because of the girls you wanted to?
That's a myth.
Yeah.
Honestly, I grew up like kind of on the outskirts of where all the activity was taking place, right? I was a fisherman and a hunter at a very young age, and never played sports, and then just decided to start playing guitar. There was always a guitar at the house.
Yeah.
My mom bought my dad a guitar for Christmas one year in the 70s, and back in those days, people showed up at your home, furniture got pushed away, and if it wasn't live music with a couple of guys playing guitar, it was the records and stuff, right? Some relatives of my mom's on her side of the family were kind of musical, and it just, I don't know, I just really dove into it,
Yeah.
and it just kind of kept snowballing from there.
Susan Butler, who's a member of the New Brunswick Country
Yes.
Music Hall of Fame, she put on a folk festival?
Yep.
A folk festival in the Miramichi area
Yep.
for quite a while.
Oh yeah, it's actually the longest running festival in North America.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's over 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've performed that a couple times, and since I decided to kind of be a little more serious with my songwriting, it's opened a lot of doors. I've met incredible people, which led to opportunities like what we're doing right now. And everything you do for original music doesn't go unnoticed. Trust me.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's a craft. You'll ask people where their inspiration comes from, and I think that's probably the toughest question to ever answer.
Well, it's probably different songs for different reasons, right?
Yeah, and like inspiration and influence to me are kind of like two different things, right? I huge fan of the late John Prine, John Mellencamp, those type of Americana kind of writers, I guess. It's tough these days, I find, to latch on to any of the music,
But there's all kinds of small little genres of music that it's not just like Kylie Fox, for instance.
Yes, exactly.
She's folkish, country-ish type thing,
Yep.
And there's different kind of sub-genres of all these other genres that are out there, and it's kind of cool when you go out to a bar or go out to a small, especially here in Fredericton, you got the Officer Square where there's always live music downtown, and you never know what you're going to hear because everyone has their own idea of what a genre is in music.
I'm not sure who said it, but there's only two kinds of music. And that's good and bad.
You know, I always say there's only two kinds of music. There's country and there's Western.
Yeah. Well, you know, again, I'm
a country fan.
Yeah. Well, I started out that way. Like I said, as a young boy, listening to nothing but country. My older sister introduced me to like the classic Canadian rock. And you know, when we were in the band in high school, it was all like, you know, I hit
The long hair.
John Bon Jovi hair, but long ago. But you know, it's I think you kind of go back, you know, to your roots to a degree.
Yeah.
But you know, the name of your show kind of really there's always a song.
Yeah.
It's always those songs take you places, right?
Yeah.
They spark a memory. You know, every time you hear certain songs, you're like, oh yeah, I remember where we were when that came out. You know?
Same thing with me when I was back in high school. I was a rocker.
Yeah.
And I was a huge Triumph fan.
Yeah.
And every time I hear Triumph nowadays, it takes me right back to when I was 17 or 18 years old. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for me, it's probably like, and I failed to mention him as an influence earlier, Steve Earle. Like, I've basically been a Steve Earle fan since he hit the you know, back in '86, whatever it was. And I was fortunate enough to see him a few times, but last summer here in Fredericton, when he did the acoustic solo tour, and I'm there and I'm like, I had this just a moment in time where I'm thinking like, I've been a fan of yours like
for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you can look back at bands like, you know, that you've always listened to, like the Stones and the Beatles or whatever, or even some of the classic country guys, but they were around a long time before I was ever around.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, I got Guitar Town for like an Easter gift, and that probably was a real game changer. You know.
Songwriting. So you started songwriting back in what, 2015? You just started dabbling in it?
Yeah. Well, you know, I've always had a little bit of a creative. I done miserably in school, but I always was kind of had that creative thing, you know. And you know, as a kid or teenager, you're writing like parody stuff, you know, and not really taking it serious. And there's some young folks from my neck of the woods now that are really like Amber Walls and Amelia Underhill. I think both have maybe been on the show. They're like, if I had had the courage that they have to write and perform at their age, you know,
they're super talented.
They really are. You know, they're writing
and they're focused.
Exactly.
You know.
So it's, you know, I kind of started taking that approach, and you know, writing a few songs, sharing them with some people, and people are either gonna try to make you feel good, or they're actually gonna say like, you know, that's pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
And the more you hear that, you just kind of, and just one song leads to another, you know. And I did a 6-song EP in 2019 with 6 original songs, and it's just it's something I enjoy, and I'd like to do more of it.
Is it therapeutic for you?
Very much, very much. Yep. And like I said earlier, the song ideas, you know, they just kind of every once in a while, you know, you're mowing the lawn or you're. I spend a lot of time in the woods, and I find that's an inspiration, you know.
Well, you're a barber. Do you, when you're cutting hair, do you sort of?
I get a lot of inspiration maybe from some of the stories that they share with me.
It's true. You're like a psychologist, really,
exactly.
or a bartender, because people come in and they share their troubles with you.
Maybe too much sometimes. But it's just a creative process. I don't consider myself any kind of a, you know, like a Chet Atkins on guitar or you know, a Vince Gill on vocals, you know. But I take pride in my writing, and you know, some songs are better than others, of course.
Yeah.
And another famous quote was, or a peer may have even shared this with me, was like, just write songs, get the bad ones out, even if you don't like them. Then it frees up space for the good ones, right?
Totally.
So
totally. Do you have you asked Amber or Amelia or someone that is writing now that hey, let's co-write some songs together?
We've kind of talked about it, I think, in the past. I'd be like honored to hand a song over. You know what I mean? Because chasing dreams now is kind of a little bit on the back side of things, But I would be more than happy to co-write with anybody, them included, And if someone can take a song and do something with it, it'd be great.
Well, that's where the money is, right?
It really is all in the writing.
That's where the big bucks is, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of writing, you mentioned John Prine. You guys did a little John Prine tribute back a while ago?
Yeah, in 2021, I guess it would have been. Yeah, so you mentioned Kylie Fox, Brent Mason, Sandy McKay, and myself. Brent's idea, we threw together a tribute show for John Prine. Did it on his birthday in St. John at the Five and Dime, is it?
I think it is.
The Vinyl Bar there? Yeah. Cool little venue. We returned the next year on the anniversary of his birthday, and then after that, it kind of just took on life of its own, and we took it all over the province, really, up to the Hullabaloo. We played it up there, here in Fredericton, Miramichi, St. Andrews, and a couple times over on Campobello at Fogfest.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't go wrong.
Oh.
It's a songwriter's dream, and the audiences for those shows were always so engaged
and probably
true fans,
true John Prine fans.
Yeah, and that's what it's great to play to somebody like that.
Oh yeah.
And from a songwriter perspective and performing, I would much rather play to a room of 20 engaged listeners than a bar full of 250 people
that aren't
wondering what the score is of the hockey game on the TV
not
behind
paying
it.
attention to
Yeah,
you.
and it's not about look at me, but it's that you gain the respect and the passion that comes from the audience. You feed off the audience, right?
Totally, yeah.
And if they're into what you're doing, it's even better.
That's a feather in the cap right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I've had some great experiences aside from the radio stuff. Like I said, I've got a chance to meet people like yourself and like a lot of songwriters around the province, and it's good. Like even today, I spent some time with Colin Falley, who's like a really, really good guy, aside from being an excellent musician and songwriter, and he's helping people like myself with his studio work and stuff now. And I met Colin through songwriting. We did a songwriter show together in Renews one night. I kind of set it up and had him in as kind of the token out of town guest, right? But everyone loved him, so it was cool.
Yeah, he was on the New Brunswick Country Showcase this past year.
Yes.
And I think we have him back on a show in September for the New Brunswick Country Showcase. And he's just a great laid-back guy.
Very much.
Just a great fellow to have around.
And back to Amber too. That's kind of what had happened is Colin and Amber did a show here in Fredericton, so some of the locals came over to support Amber, became fans of Colin. So they came out to our show in Renews and brought some people with them. So it was really good.
Yeah, it's sort of like a domino effect when you're hanging out with other musicians, and other songwriters. It's a spider web type thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where you get it. Terry Whalen, who is a guy too, who's really kind of probably why I'm sitting here in terms of he was always giving me that push to write more, And he used to do a little thing in Miramichi at a barn. It was called Whalen's Barn.
At a barn?
At a barn. He had a barn refurbished into a little, it was a summer series every Thursday night, I think. And he would bring in, he had a lot of good songwriters in there, and it was always such an inspiration. I'd go there, and when I went home, I'd be like, I got to start working on my songwriting.
Yeah.
There'd be something that would click that night, And he had a lot of good, like maritime artists through the doors, and some from outside of New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's festivals, gigs. Have you done festivals?
I've done quite a few. Like life and with the new business with the barbershop and whatnot, it's kind of as much as I'd like to be doing this a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't done anything. I am playing at the Folk Song Festival again this year. That's about the extent of the summer stuff. When anything comes up, I'm more than willing to jump on board. But yeah, I had a chance to play, as I mentioned earlier. I played Campobello Fog Fest 3 years, I think. COVID kind of put a wrench into 1 year there. And we went up to the Hullabaloo in Perth Andover And then, you know, just kind of touring around the province
Yeah,
and
there's
some little gigs.
There's so many new festivals popping up. There's a
Oh,
couple,
goodness, yeah.
You know, there's one. Is it 506? That's in St.
Yes,
John.
exactly.
Fundy Fest is in Sussex or just outside of Sussex, and
Yeah.
and these are starting to be every year they grow.
Well, yeah, and like the Nashwauk, you know, and there's
Nashwauk
all these little
Music Fest, yeah.
regional like things that go on too. Like in particular, just within the outskirts of Miramichi, like there's something going on every weekend from like July 1st till
Yeah.
Labor Day.
Yeah,
It's
and that's
hard-
awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Is Miramichi a big musical town?
Well, I'll tell you, our fan base for original music kind of goes, you know. There's artists like, you know, Dylan Ryan, Terry, Jack Bowie is another guy, Six Gun Smoke. They've been beating the drum, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I commend them because they've been, you know, ECMA nominees, the whole works, right? So that culture in Miramichi kind of, it's always been there, you know.
Yeah.
And you just need a little bit of gas on the fire. The guys like at New Maritime Brewery there, they just had a
Yeah.
big festival there, it's second annual, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They've been really supportive of original music, you know. Guys from all over Canada, I
Yeah.
think, have been there. Good friend of mine does a lot of home house concerts, and he's bought in like always original music, you know.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was lucky enough, you know, I saw J.P. Cormier and Dave Gunning in one of my buddies' living room, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah, like this
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, and you know, there's no shortage of talent over there.
Jason Berry's up there.
Jason
now with
Berry,
with
really
his
really good friend of mine.
studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jason's you know, he's home now, you know.
Yeah.
He's still working abroad quite a bit, but it's nice that he came back to Miramichi and set up his studio and the whole works.
Yeah, there's a lot of people coming in to town to record there. And,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a super studio for sure.
Yeah.
Super talented. Okay, so we're gonna get to a song in a few minutes.
Sure.
Let's talk about. Do you remember the first song that you wrote? The very first one?
Ooh. Yeah, I do. And it's just a song that stayed in my mind for a long time. I never really recorded it per se. Yeah, but it was, you know, kind of a, you know, broken-hearted high school guy.
Really?
One of those ones, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
those could be turned into #1 hits.
Well,
You know,
hey, I've performed it a few times at some of the songwriters
Yeah.
stuff I've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite old now.
Yeah. The song that you're planning on doing for us on the show, there's always a song, is "Love You More."
Yep.
Tell us about the song, and is it recorded?
It is, yeah, and it's available on like your streaming services. When I did my CD in 2019, you know, after I got it out, and my claim to fame is it sold 200 copies in Miramichi, so that's platinum status.
That's awesome.
But you know, everyone was like, where can I download that?
Yeah.
Where can I, you know? And I'm like, well, sorry, you know, if you don't have the physical copy. So I decided to kind of dive back into writing, recording, and I said, you know, I'll do a single, which is kind of what everyone encouraged me to do, and I did release that digitally. It has its, you know, ups and downs, right? It's so much easier to share to the entire planet
Yeah.
versus trying to sell somebody a CD at a show.
Exactly.
But, you know, if you're in it to try to make any money, it's probably not the best way to do it. But I'm not in it for that.
No.
I'm just in it for passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the streaming, you get like what, 2 cents or
Oh.
not even 2 cents every time it's sold or something
Yeah,
like that?
and
or
I mean,
sometimes-
you're looking at people like Taylor Swift that are getting millions.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it takes to get any kind of compensation, I think. But again, I'm no expert on that topic. There could be, maybe there's things that I'm not doing right.
Yeah.
But look, it's about getting the song out there, and if that's the best way to do it, then
And there's a couple of radio stations up there. Have you got any radio airplay?
I have, yeah. On the, they used to
the
have
river?
and they used to do like a local focused show, but
Yeah.
it doesn't exist
It's hard to get
anymore, I think.
airplay, especially on the big corporation
Oh,
stations.
of course, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to mention any
No, you
names,
don't
but
have to.
but it's tough to get local people to be played on the air
Yeah.
because they've got to go through head office.
And make sure the
yeah.
content is,
Yeah.
you know.
So the song "Love You More," Who's it about? Is it about?
It's kind of there's some little tongue-in-cheek stuff in there. It's kind of about just relationships.
Yeah.
Some of it's a little bit maybe close to home, but you know, there's a couple little nuances in there that I think a lot of people can relate to.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Well, I'm looking forward to playing it for you, sir.
We're gonna take a listen to that song in just a couple minutes' time. It's "Love You More" by Wade Hallihan, and we're gonna come back right after this. Hey everyone, welcome back. There's always a song. My name is Brent Buchanan, and our guest, of course, this episode was Wade Hallihan, and he is all set and ready to play a tune that he wrote. The song is called "Love You More."
You may say that I'm a nice guy. There's a side I never show. You say I'm difficult and cranky. Tell me something I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. There's one thing I know for sure. If you find it in your heart to love me, I'll find it in mine to love you more. You say I never leave the seat down. I say you never leave it up. It's hard to see the glass half full or empty when you're drinking from a cup. If you take this life walk with me, I'll hold open every door. If you find it in your heart to love me, I'll find it in mine to love you more. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. We could keep this going till the day turns into night. What would it really matter at the ending of the day? We go to bed, sleep it off, start over in the morning. What do you say? We're not getting any younger, and we all know that's a fact. We all take life for granted, and those mistakes we can't take back. But if we can stick it out, there's one thing I know for sure. If you find it in your heart to love me, I'll find it in mine. Yeah, I'll find it in mine to love you more.
All right, so that is Wade Hallihan. Thank you, Wade, for coming in and being my guest on this episode of There's Always a Song. If you know someone that is writing songs and performing songs and would love to be a guest on the show, please reach out to them. Tell them to get a hold of me, and I would love to have them on as a guest. Once again, Brent Buchanan, There's Always a Song, and we'll see you next time.